Okay, everybody. So what I'd like to show you right now is how you can actually start up a new file. This is going to be something that we uh, take a picture of. So I'm just switching this to inches just so it's a little more clear as to what the dimensions are in the beginning. So I'm making this 10. I'm going to make it 10 by 10. Resolution or dots per inch, DPI, that can be 72 for this example. I'm going to choose create. And what I've done is I've just made the stage. That's all that I've done here. So now I want to get the actual file. And here's where I would go to File, Open in Place. So this is where I'm going to get a picture of something I created, and it's loading. Here it comes. Boom, there it is. So it's just a little scene from my sketchbook, and you see it's got some things I can edit. These are just people that were standing around in a farmer's market, and I want to make them into a drawing. So first thing I'd like to do is I want to expand this here. First thing I want to do is I want to get rid of some of this extra stuff that's not necessary. So I'm going to just snag this here. I simply think that, oh, it must be rasterized. Well, let's talk about that first. So to delete the marching ants, I'm going to choose Command D to undo that. And you see this little icon right here? This tells me that it's what's called a smart image. And I think what goes on is basically it means that if we were to edit, um, let me just show you how to undo that. You'll see why in just a second. I'm going to go to Layer and then Rasterize. And the second I do it, now that little icon's not there. What that means is that I would be able to edit that image or this image in another file, and then it would be updated here. I'll get more into smart objects later, but for now, just know that if you have that icon, you want to go to, again, Layer and Rasterize. Okay, do that first. So now I should have some more freedom to do some things that, for instance, getting rid of this spiral. So I'm going to choose the marching ants, the little marquee tool here, hit delete, and off it goes. I'd like to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go to this side here, choose that, off it goes. Okay, so now, cancel, hit the wrong keyboard combination. Okay, Command D, again, turns off the marching ants. You can see, if you take a good look at this, you can see there's two different, this is a pure white and this is kind of an off-white. So let's correct that. One easy way to do that, make this just pure black and white, is if you go to, I'm trying to recall, I know where it is in Photoshop, in Photopea. Where did they put this feature? I'm looking for something called, it is called Threshold. And bear with me a second as I did see it, so I know it exists. But for the life of me, I'm not finding it right this second. So maybe the plan then is to, because it's not crucial that I do this. Layer style. Nope, I thought it might be there. There it is. Okay, under layer, new adjustment layer, you can go to this guy, threshold. And what this will do is, I know it's not super obvious, but what it did is it just broke this down into a pure black and white. And that looks kind of grainy, doesn't it? That's not very pixely. So we're going to adjust that. And that's awful. And let's put it somewhere in here, kind of a better balance. Something like that. Now, if you let it go, and let's see. Not really liking the look of that. So I'm going to actually, it's funny, I think it's because this is a very low resolution image. So if we were working with something like 300 DPI, this would look a little better. Let's zoom out anyway. It's okay. It's okay. But it's it's a little grainy. I'm actually going to undo that because I don't really want to go with it looking that way. Whoops. So let's undo it one more time. And maybe one more time. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so it only gives you one or two undos. So you can always go to history. History keeps track of what you've been doing. And there it is. So you see what I did? I just stepped back one, and now it's back to the way it is. It's partly because it's a low res image. But anyway, let's talk about the editing features, and we can get into how to break this into pure black and white later. It's not essential now. It's just looking back on it, I perhaps should have, from the beginning, put in like a higher DPI, but that's okay. For today, what I really wanted us to focus on were a few of the tools and how we could actually do some editing, enhancing, and some correcting. So in case it's not very obvious, right here, this is your eraser tool. So for instance, if I were to just go like so, you can see, obviously, it's living up to its namesake. However, let's undo that. What might be a smarter way to do it, because you can see there's that color difference, you might want to take the eyedropper tool, select that color. Now it's loaded in our brush. Go to the brush. And now, you see, and now it's very seamless. Okay. So suppose you wanted to redraw that foot. What you could do then is you have to kind of guess. And what I mean by that is both of these will give you different types of lines. So let me show you what I mean. If I go with the brush tool and I switch this right here to black, and I try to draw with this, let's look at this difference here. You can see how it's kind of like a little gray around the edges there. Whereas if I'd used the pencil tool right here, and let's lower the brush. I'm lowering the brush, by the way. I could do it here, just so you know. You can change the size. And there's another way where you can use the brackets on your keyboard. Anyway, it's kind of a little crooked line there. But you can see the difference. Okay, so it kind of depends on the style you want to go for. One is very crisp. It's just pure black. And this is going to be black, but it's going to have some shades of gray in there as well. So it's more in keeping with the original drawing if, in this case, we actually use the paintbrush tool. So I'm going to take that, and I'm kind of guessing. I'm going to lower the brush size just a little bit. And it's a little thick, as you can see. I'm going to maybe lower it down one more time. And that's okay. The foot's a little large, but it's all right. I'm using a trackpad. I do actually have my tablet here. I suppose I can try to use it, but I'm trying to be fast with this video. So anyway, that's one way. Like I said, you could just think about, let's get that color. Think about painting over your imperfections. And here's the other thing to think of, layers. That can be kind of confusing at first. So right now we're on layer, this layer doesn't have a name, but we could name it probably. Yeah, let's call it layer 1. Okay, then I'm going to make another layer right down here, and I'll just call this layer 2. The reason I suggest you get in the habit of using layers is so you can do what are called destructive versus non-destructive edits. So what I've done right here has been what's called a destructive edit. Because the original source was altered. However, suppose you're sort of on the fence about what you want to do. You can always go to a higher layer. You can lock layers too. I'm going to lock that. Be aware, though, you'll have the icon that shows you. So right now, this can't be accidentally altered. I'm on layer 2, and I'm going to go back to this painting idea I had, where I'm going to just select the color, take the brush, and let's make the brush size a little larger. And I'm just going to go like that. And what's nice about it is it gives you a chance to kind of, this hasn't really been committed to. All I did was I just made this little patch. You can see it right there. And that's just floating above. Okay, so erasing, drawing with either the brush or the pencil tool, and making layers. That's currently what we've covered. And the one other little thing that I think I'll get into next will be ways to, actually I have a couple thoughts, but I'm going to hold off more I think about it. I'm sort of keeping an eye on the clock, and I don't want the video to get too long, but this is a good starter. So you can actually begin doing some editing and touching up. The other little thing I'd say before leaving quickly is, let's actually go back to this layer, unlock it. You can always, with the lasso tool, make selections. So for instance, not that this makes too much sense, but let's say you grab this person here, like so. Now this has been selected, and you can go ahead and do these copies. So copy, and this is kind of a nice thing about using digital media. I suppose I have to paste it now. Let's do that. Paste. It's a little different. Allow that. Okay. And so if I did this correctly, what should have happened is that, yes, correct. That layer is now, that paste is now on a separate layer on this layer 1. which is right there. You might also notice that I have auto select off. You really want to keep that on. What that does is that wherever I click, pay attention to this. It just brings me to the layer I click on. So if I go back to this, it jumps me back there. That can be really handy. I'm going to end the video here, but this is enough to get you started just for some editing and enhancing. So if you want to add some features, you kind of have an idea as to how to get that started. But we'll talk more about this in future classes and videos. Okay, bye-bye.